You've broken everything. Your suffering is almost at an end.
And how does Season 4 end? Let's find out together, shall we? Hello and welcome to another episode of the Forever Fangirls podcast, where age is nothing but a number in life and in fandoms. I am Sheila Amato, and you can find me and my wife on our website at foreverfangirls.com.
And I am Kimberly Amato, and you can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at ForeverFanPod. Same handle, 3 socials.
We are your hosts, and we're glad you can join us.
And on today's episode, we're going to be covering one of our absolute favorite shows that has been away from our screens for far too long, Stranger Things.
Yes, indeed. There's a lot to discuss, so please be aware this will be a long episode. So if you haven't seen Stranger Things Volume 1 and 2, please pause us and come back to this episode after seeing both volumes, now streaming on Netflix. Oh, continuing our theme here, huh?
New banter music.
Oh, very cool.
I like it.
I like it too. So, in case we already weren't hyped about Season 4, Volume 1, before Volume 1 was released, we actually saw or experienced the Stranger Things experience in Brooklyn.
Yep.
And that was so immersive and so much fun. There were a lot of retro 80s themed merch and photo ops. And then prior to Volume 2 being released, if you followed us on Instagram, you would have seen that we attended the New Jersey Stranger Con on June 25th and 26th. And we met a lot of the stars from the show.
Yeah. And to be honest, there's just too much that happened at that convention and the experience to even really go into. If you want to know more, by all means, send us messages. But Gaten Matarazzo at StrangerCon confirmed that he's going to be on Broadway to close out Dear Evan Hansen. So we did get tickets to that. But my favorite parts of the con were actually them trying not to spoil what was going on in part 2.
I know.
As well as discussing the song.
Whoa. You're going into spoiler territory. We have to stop that.
No.
Yes.
Way.
So before we spoil anyone with our eagerness, let's go ahead and dig into Stranger Things Season 4.
So here's going to be a short summary from Google. In 1980s Indiana, a group of young friends witness supernatural forces and secret government exploits. As they search for answers, the children unravel a series of extraordinary mysteries.
You know, it's so funny. I was expecting you to do like one of your special voices because this was a scary season, and you did it in your normal voice.
I figured that would terrify people more because I haven't done it in a long time.
It terrified me. I was like, wait, what's going on? Anyway, so there are so many mysteries, and maybe I'm biased, but what wasn't good in this season? I mean, yes, it's quite dark, like we've already alluded to, and it may not be appropriate for very young viewers. But the characters are getting older, so it makes sense that things escalate.
So there are 9 chapters here. Volume 1 was 1 through 7. Volume 2 was the last 2 episodes. And my understanding is they only did that because Volume 2 had special effects and all this other stuff that needed to be done, and they didn't want fans waiting. So we're not going to be able to cover everything. It's just impossible. Mm-hmm. We're going to do the very best we can, and we're going to try to be as efficient and quick and non-tangential as possible. So let's set the stage and then go right into the themes.
Okay.
Do you want some banter music?
Oh, why not? Let's use our new music. Okay. So the season, the biggest thing we know is that Elle has lost her powers. The friends are scattered. The Byers moved to California. The rest of the gang stayed in Hawkins. And unbeknownst to us, Hopper is being held in a remote Russian prison. So we get introduced to Vecna, and we find out that he is number 1/Henry. 11 opened the door to the Upside Down and created Vecna when trying to stop number 1/Henry. Eventually, with the help of Dr. Owens and Papa, 11 gets her powers back, stronger than ever, but is stranded in Nevada. The California crew sent Joyce, who went off to Russia to rescue Hopper, finds 11 in the Nevada desert with the help of Susie's directions. And the California crew jury-rigged a sensory deprivation tank for 11 to join the fight in Hawkins to try to save her friends. Max unfortunately dies and becomes the fourth fissure, creating the opening for Vecna to enter our world. 11 brings back Max to life, but Max remains in a coma with 4 broken limbs. Joyce returns to Hawkins with Hopper, and everyone is reunited and is now facing the biggest challenge ever. Number 1/Henry/Vecna taking over the world. That was a lot.
That is a lot.
Whew. Okay, so let's go into themes, shall we?
Power. Power is in my mind, and I know you've got it written here, but it's my mind number one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you just take Papa, for example, he wields so much power over the kids. And as we learn, as we get, 11 gets her powers back and has to figure out what memory was attached to it and everything that would trigger them, you see how he manipulated everybody.
Yeah, he recorded everything so that he could use everything.
You know, like Vecna says later, you have it here, quote, sought greatness in others because he wasn't great himself.
Right.
So he then wanted to control them and everything else. But even how he tried to control Henry/Vecna/1, there was that idea that he couldn't stop his power. He got scared that the power would not be controllable, and therefore he put a chip in him to control him.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that power control dynamic going on.
I mean, Vecna as well, you know, when he was banished to the Upside Down, he was using the dust to make the Mind Flayer. He then used that to start his plan of revenge against Papa, against 11, against the other world. Right?
Which also begs the question, since he got there and the Demigorgons and the Demidogs and all that were there, are they just innocent? Being manipulated by this dust shadow thing? And Vecna abusing them?
The other display of power, I think, in this world is Jason, the popular captain of the basketball team. You know, he always wants to be the hero. He wants to take the winning shot, and he is leading the, however misguided, hunt for Chrissy's killer, and he's going to stop at nothing to do it.
Yeah, it's interesting how that works, because if you take it into modern day society, it's the exact same thing. It's fear baiting. It's twisting and blaming somebody else for the unknown. So if you can't understand what's going on right in front of you, it is easier to point the finger at somebody else, because we don't understand as human beings the underlying things. In this case,
but there is an explanation.
There is an explanation. In this case, I understand it's supernatural, and they're going to say there's no way, but you can still, there's an explanation. It's the Upside Down. And from those who have witnessed it, instead of accepting what they say, they know nobody's going to believe them. They know it's going to be, they're going to kind of ignore them or say it's fake news or whatever. So that power hungry ego, fear, all of it wrapped into control and power. It's fascinating how the parallels are there.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Yes.
So finding your path, acceptance. I think this was also a big theme. The biggest thing, is 11's arc, right? Her journey throughout the season, where she lost her power. She didn't know who she was without her power. She had to figure that out, and she was struggling to do that. And she didn't. Granted, she needed Dr. Owens and Papa's help to regain it, but she had to remember the trauma that caused her, that caused the Upside Down to begin with, that she was the cause of it. And once she remembered that, then she accepted, okay, her part in it, she was then able to grow and also be able to be strong enough to let Papa go. I mean, that was something that you were just hooting and hollering about.
Yeah, because he was abusive. He was a vile human being. And when she says, you are the monster, he is. And I know Vecna later says, no, he wasn't a monster. He was merely a man. You did this.
He was doing that literally.
Yeah, but the idea is, if you look at Vecna, she says, I brought you here. Yeah, but he did this to you. He made you who you are. And he's like, no, you did. And I knew that was coming because that's the way to get under her skin. But in reality, Papa made them this way. The reason they're different is because 11 has friends, family, and love. And he has never had that. He's always had the psychopathic brain of I'm better, or I'm not explaining it correctly, but the fact is Papa created them. Papa made them. And when she says, I've made a decision, if he wasn't a monster, he always knows best. He always does this. If he wasn't a monster, he would have let her go and continue to try to help her. Instead, he stabs something in her neck, tries to control her. And what happens? It blows up in his face because he says she's not ready. And you know what? Other people can die and other people can do this. You know what would have happened if she didn't do anything? Max is dead. The fissures open. The worlds collide. And it all happens anyway.
And that goes back to number one saying, yeah, he wants greatness through others because he doesn't have it.
He wants to be the savior without having to do anything.
Yeah.
And when she says, you're the monster, he starts crying. And it feels authentic. I don't know if it's because he was called a monster or if he realizes it's because he's losing control. But her finding her path and realizing it, when he's begging for forgiveness and she just says goodbye, I was thrilled because it's her accepting he was part of my past. I've accepted what he's done, but I'm not beholden to him.
Yeah. And the way she walked away from him with her head held high, just showing that, okay, now I can forge my own path forward. And before that, her cathartic scream, to me, that was just a very powerful scene because she was just letting go of everything. Yes, she was controlling a helicopter and then squishing all of the Hummers there, but it's just letting go of all of the pain and the hurt and the doubt.
She's stronger.
Yeah.
Fully knowing who she is and where she's going and what she wants to be. Especially like when she said, I want to go to my friends. If I don't go, they die.
Yeah.
It's not about saving the world as much as it is
saving
the ones she loves. And there's a difference.
Yeah. Another person who is like trying to find their path, right, is Eddie.
Yeah.
And he's the leader of the Hellfire Club. They're playing Dungeons and Dragons and all of that. And he's the I don't know.
Dungeon master.
Thank you. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons,
I
obviously.
used to.
So, he has the leadership or the power seat there, but in real life he doesn't, right? He's the outcast. There's a line in there where they said, he kept running, but then he stopped when he stood his ground, stayed in the upside down, and tried to buy more time for everybody else to succeed. And so he redeemed himself in a way.
Well, he found his inner strength. He realized who he wants to be, and he was not allowing anybody else to dictate for him anymore. He heard himself, where he realized, like, look, when Chrissy was hurt, when all this was going on, I ran. And he ran out of fear. And, who knows what would have happened if he stayed? He probably would have been blamed for it anyway.
Or gotten killed himself.
Exactly. They might have done something. Who knows? But the idea is he sat back and said, who do I want to be remembered for? And the people that matter are going to remember him as doing what was needing to be done to give everybody else a few minutes.
Right. So another character here finding the acceptance. To me, that scene where Max was the bait, I think it's episode 9. We knew that she felt guilty about, we knew that she had survivor's guilt, right? And that was very clear in like the first couple of episodes. But here in episode 9, she was really acknowledging the fact that she felt guilty because she wished her brother dead, because he made her life a living hell. And then finally, when it happened, she wasn't sure if she should be elated or she should try to save him. And so that was the more complex part of the guilt for her. I thought that was a very powerful scene.
Well, they've been telegraphing that with the Kate Bush song.
Yes.
The swapping our places.
Yes.
So it was the candidness of Max accepting what she said, how she said. You know, accepting that you're angry with people, accepting that fear, that anger, and accepting the guilt. It's very hard to do. But, you know, credit to Sadie Sink on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's incredible. Okay, anything more about the finding your path and acceptance?
I think we should jump right into Found Family.
Yeah, well, that's been like all of Stranger Things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, going to the ends of the earth and other realms, you know, to fight and protect your family. Speaking of the people that matter, knowing who you really are, Eddie's uncle continues to believe that his nephew is innocent. And that scene with Dustin makes me very teary-eyed.
Yeah, it's hard because the people who love you, they know you. Mm-hmm. So all the lies, all the vitriolic BS, the people that know you know the truth.
Yeah. And that scene, the reason why it's so important is because Eddie's uncle finally got the validation that he was right. His nephew was innocent. And that Dustin was telling him Eddie was a hero.
Yeah.
And that he was true to himself to the very end. And, you know, what other thing can you really want in life, right? You want to be true to yourself.
And his uncle never wavered.
Nope.
Even when the entire town wanted him out, the uncle never wavered and said, look, you know, we've got a bad reputation, but this kid is a good kid.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to perception. You know, you hear something, you see something. If you don't do your due diligence and get to know the person or look deeper, you don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going on in this world. We don't know what people think, what people are doing, or what's behind their actions.
I mean, there's truth to the fact that, you know, rumors fly faster than the truth because it's more interesting to, you know, think of all of the salacious things that could be.
It's also easier.
And the truth can be very boring.
It's easier, in my humble opinion, it is easier because of your own personal fears to get sucked into conspiracies and lies and half-truths and yellow journalism than it is to seek out the truth, because to seek out the truth, requires you doing something when you might not have the time, effort, or
it's hard work.
Or access, because you just might not have any access to it. Mm-hmm. And then there's the idea that it might not be, like you said, this great thing that you can latch onto. It might be something so mundane and so boring that you're like, oh.
It can't be that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, you know, but everything I read, they had X, Y, and Z. They had all this proof. They did all this stuff. They had all of these, and, you know, these links and whatever. Mm-hmm. How could it be a lie? Because at the end of the day, people process things through their experiences.
And speaking of, you know, family and their belief in you, you know, the other theme here that was very, very, very strong throughout season 4 and throughout Stranger Things in general is that the strength and bond of love over hate, it keeps you going, right? In the scene, I'm thinking specifically about when Vecna took Nancy, right? Her friends were frantically looking for music to release Vecna's hold. It's like they wanted to make sure that they did everything that they could to protect their friends, their family. In Max's case, when Vecna finally got her and she didn't have her music, she clung on to the memories of, you know, that snowball dance with Lucas. It's the good memories that keep you going.
It also, when Vecna, if you notice, when he grabs them, he preys on their fears. Mm-hmm. So he preys on what everybody else thinks. He preys on the subjective, the things we tell ourselves that may or may not be true because we're being influenced by everybody on the outside.
Well, yeah, because fear is a very powerful emotion.
To then have the friends rush up and fight and try to get the cassette tape in the Walkman and all of that. 11 saying, I have to get into this deprivation tank, and he's staring at her and looking at her size and going, dude, yeah, we can do this. And taking over the pizza place in order to get 11 in the tank so 11 can mind jump and be there, if nothing else, to try and protect her. And they did. Yeah. I mean, they brought Max back to life.
Yeah. And I'm sure that that's going to be the impetus for season 5, but put a pin in it. So, you know, the other major scene that really really got to me was, you talked about the pizza place. The scene between the Byers brothers, where Will, was looking longingly at Mike and Eleven as, they were kind of playful, right, in the other room. And Jonathan basically saying, look, I'm your brother. You don't talk to me as much now, but regardless of what it is, I still love and accept you.
This I think was so powerful because in the 80s, and I'm going to probably reiterate this a bunch through the whole show, coming out, saying anything, it was unheard of.
Yeah.
So I was very happy they were factually accurate. To see the way Jonathan accepts and loves him, loves Will, regardless, doesn't have to say it.
Yeah.
Doesn't put him on the spot, doesn't out him, doesn't make him feel uncomfortable, just says, hey, no matter what is going on, no matter how you feel, I love you.
Yeah.
I will be here. You are my brother. There's nothing that will break that, whether your friendships are here or not.
Yeah.
I am never leaving.
Yeah. And that was just so great. And it actually parallels Robin, right? Because there was, and I don't remember which episode it was, but she was talking to Steve because they were talking about dating, and Steve was dating everything and everyone, not everyone, but all of the.
He was
different
playing
girls,
the field,
right? And Robin said something very poignant: is that you can ask out any girl you want. If I ask the wrong girl, I'm a pariah. I don't know that was the...
But that is the truth. In the 80s, even the 90s, and to be honest, some of the 2000s, you ask the wrong girl in our case, you are an outcast. You are shunned. You are labeled, and that's it. There's no way to get away from that.
And imagine this is Hawkins, a small Midwest town.
Yeah. The accuracy of that, I so appreciate. I love that they're developing Will the way they're developing. It is not queer baiting. They do not have him sitting there with another individual where you think they're going to be together, but they're not. They are literally having somebody slowly come to terms with who they are in, to be honest, some of the most conservative times of this nation in a hugely conservative Midwest town. So it is beautifully done, absolutely stunning. And the way Jonathan sees it in the rear view mirror, puts it together and understands and doesn't blink.
Yeah, that is true love and family. And then speaking of family, I think the Duffer Brothers are just brilliant in this. They really highlight all of the relationships because right before the big battle, right, where they're going to go up against Vecna, they were in that meadow putting together their weapons, and they were talking, right? Especially the Sinclair siblings. Lucas telling Erica that she came to all his games except for the one that mattered, and she was like, "Yeah, well, parents made me do it." But she also admitted that, "Well, you're my brother,"
and then still had the baby sister feeling of, you're so doing this wrong. Let me fix the spear. It's not tight enough.
Well, that's because she knows that she's
a smart kid. But it's the idea that
it's a sibling rivalry.
It's the sibling rivalry, but it's also that sibling love. You want to tell him you love him, but you also don't want to be too serious about it. So immediately went to something else.
Right.
But then you also have, Eddie and Dustin had a very lovely conversation and breaking.
It's like big brother, little brother.
Yeah, saying, Dustin, don't you ever change, which immediately put me on notice that he was probably going to die. Because when you have a great, and I leaned over and told you as such, when you have that kind of connection and that intimate conversation, all right, why is this happening? See, I just kind of had a feeling that Eddie was going to do something, and he did. Steve and Robin having real conversation over Molotov cocktails.
It's funny because as soon as he said that, I was thinking Molotov girl.
In Freak, that's what I was thinking of right away.
But I was like, they were actually coming to grips that, this might be the time that they don't get lucky and they perish. So it's a very serious conversation that, they've always been, again, like the brother-sister type thing, right? And they're always ribbing each other. But this is like one of the times when they were serious and that they were saying, okay, well, we're still gonna try our best. And
Well, because I think it was Steve who says, I would rather try and fail than not try.
yeah,
Because what do we gain by not trying? He's going to take over. We have to fight.
right.
Maybe if they stop him here, he doesn't come to the right side up.
There is hope.
And as long as there is hope, there's a chance.
Yeah.
So you keep fighting.
Earlier you were talking about like the nuances of the 80s. I just wanted to bring in there that the nostalgia factor, and I think that's part of the reason why I really got drawn to Stranger Things to begin with, is because it was set in the 80s. It brought back like the Walkmans,
I had a Walkman.
I did too.
I had a waterproof one. It was the sport one. So you could run
my goodness.
and
They
sweat.
were so heavy.
God, yes. You always had to make sure your belt was like really tight. Because otherwise your pants would sag on one side.
I mean, in Susie's house, in her father's office where they had the dot matrix printers, I'm like, oh my God.
Okay, wait a minute. Dot matrix printer, little tangent joke. My bedroom when I was little was on the wall that my mother had an office, and she had a dot matrix printer that she used for work. And I'd be sleeping because I'd have to wake up early in the morning, and all I would hear was at like 11 o'clock at night, and I would be wide awake.
It's so funny because during that scene, you've told me that story so many times that I was actually thinking, oh, there you go. It woke up Kimmy.
Yeah. I mean, and then you have the 16-bit game consoles. I mean, we were lucky if we had that. Those were expensive.
Yeah.
The
and then
dial-up.
I was cracking up. I could hear that noise in the back of my head.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
And then you were lucky if you connected at 9600. We're like, ooh. Remember when it hit 14.4?
Oh, ooh. It's like, oh, no one must be on.
Yeah. And then your phone was busy. Your parents always knew when you were online because your phone was busy.
Yeah.
Anyway, the music was great. I love the music every season. I know they have, I will link, if I can find it, in Spotify. They do have a playlist in Apple Music from Netflix for this season. But Kate Bush's song, Running Up That Hill, is just so perfect for the season.
Yeah, and apparently I saw an article where it apparently is earning her millions in royalties from streaming. I'm like, oh, you go, girl.
She deserves it. I will say my favorite, though, my absolute favorite, has been the remix of Journey's Separate Ways. I am in heaven with it. I am addicted to it. I play it on repeat.
Oh, it gives me the chills.
Exactly. It's so eerie and so, it's like it gives it oomph. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the classic Police song, Every Breath You Take.
Because Vecna is stalking you.
Yeah. And then, at the top of the trailer, Eddie finally is like having his solo. And I was like, what is that song? And you were like, Metallica. I'm like, what?
It's
like,
Master of Puppets.
I
was
like,
oh my God, he's playing Master. And then the caption comes up, Master of Puppets. I'm like, get that.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, okay.
The music is great.
So, any other good or themes?
I don't know any other themes that we need to delve into, but before we jump into the bad, we are going to be sharing a promo from one of our podcasting friends.
Ooh, cool.
Once upon a time, a trio of bards, the Narrators 3, were called upon to unite the realms with an episode-by-episode deep dive commentary on the fairy tale-laden soap opera Once Upon a Time.
Tune in for weekly retrospect sprinkled with judgmental fondness and hysterical disappointment as the Narrators 3 laugh, throw shade, and have the occasional emotional breakdown.
If you find tales of costuming, character takedowns, and plot devices that come with a price utterly charming, the Narrators 3 invite you to join them for Once Upon a Rewatch, available on all major platforms where podcasts can be found.
Ah. Like a little fairy tale.
Oh, it's Once Upon a Time. How can you not like Once Upon a Time?
I don't watch Once Upon a Time.
you know what? You need to listen to that podcast and then watch the episodes with me.
Okay.
But we are going to jump into the bad of season 4.
Yeah, back to our normally scheduled podcast. No, kidding. Okay, so what is the bad?
We have to wait some time to whenever they've announced season 5 is coming out.
Yeah, that was my.
I mean, that is one hell of a cliffhanger.
like what?
It's like, by the way, did you notice it made like this real big it's like the 4 corners, and I kept going, ooh, is this like the 4 corners like the Craft?
Well, they were talking. At least Dustin was talking about the 4 The 4 horsemen of
The apocalypse. So I was like,
something.
there's so many 4s, and I didn't realize how many 4s there are.
Well,
in like,
it's season 4. So.
Yes, I understand that. But I was thinking in history, as far as like evils and a lot of things, I was like, oh, everything comes in 3s. No, there's a lot that comes in 4s too.
Yeah.
4? Wow. A lot that comes in. Well, wow, I'm screwing up everything today.
You are okay.
It was such, and forgive me, when Jason got obliterated.
Oh my goodness. It's
So
like
cathartic.
Yeah.
I kind of felt bad for him though. But
Well, you know what? It's all good. He got his just desserts, as you always say.
anyway,
Is there any other bad?
I understand why they had the long episodes. It really worked really, 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 really well.
It was kind of slow in the beginning, though.
There were some episodes I think they could have trimmed. I don't know by how much. I'm not going to lie here. But it did seem to take a little bit to get going. And I think maybe the earlier episodes could have been trimmed a little bit. The later episodes of Volume 1, I know could not because
there was
they
just
didn't.
so much.
And to be honest, the last 2 episodes, we didn't realize they were done.
Yeah. I was like, no! It felt like it was just 5 minutes. And
yeah.
It wasn't, clearly.
The hints, there's so much going on. My brain is overloaded. Is that a bad thing? My brain's overloaded?
Yes, because then, you're thinking about other possibilities without spoiling it for me.
I've got so many tendrils of ideas of where things could go running in my head, but there's
you know
so
what?
many of them that I don't think any of them are humanly possible.
It's okay, because you will have your opportunity to share a few later on.
Are we putting a pin in that?
Yes, we are.
There's my pin sound.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's dive into the cute. Now, this is a very dark season, but even here, there are about 3 to me that stand out that I can think of as cute.
Oh, you have 3?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so for one, in chapter 6, when Susie mentions that the internet, the IP addresses, internet and something like that, and the boys are like, "What's the internet?" And she says,
yeah, that was funny.
"Don't worry about it. It's just going to change the world." And I'm like,
Yeah, it did.
That's an understatement. And then in that same episode, when Steve first dives into the lake, Dustin on the shore actually says, if Steve finds that gate down there, it'll be Watergate.
Yeah, I remember you laughing
Watergate.
on the couch for that, and I was just like, "Oh, that's such a dad joke."
Oh,
and you were like,
it was
"Oh my
so
god, that's so
great.
funny! It's so
It
great."
was.
Yeah, I mean, it's Dustin being Dustin.
Yes.
To be honest,
I love
think
his character.
I think Dustin is one of the best characters.
And I think it's because Gayton is the actor behind Dustin, right?
Well, yeah,
Makes
at the
it
convention,
so much work.
I don't remember who it was,
It
but
makes it work so much. That's what I meant.
was it Charlie or Dacre who said that they love Gayton and he is his character.
Mm-hmm.
So even
And
on
on
stage he was
stage,
hysterical.
Jinx. Okay, and so my third one, which is the best one,
Oh no,
in
you are
chapter
not. You
9.
are not bringing that up.
when Argyle makes pizza. It was what? It was Hawaiian pizza. Oh, it was so great. And Elle confirmed that it was good. Oh my God. I'm so hungry right now.
I am with Mike. You do not put fruit on a pizza. No,
My dudette. Try before you deny.
look, my wifey. I have tried many a meal that you have made and requested me try things. If you look, I'm just going to tell our lovely listening audience, if there is a bit of fruit or whatever else you get on a pizza touching my slice, I will not eat it.
Come
I am
on. There's
that
so
bad.
many things
No.
that work.
No.
No.
Like
Like chocolate mousse and raspberry.
no.
Yum.
I don't even like that.
Hawaiian pizza.
No.
Yum.
All right. First off, you're trying to put chocolate in the same category as Hawaiian. All right. This is
course.
going to be a podcast all on its own. It's
Anyway,
just no. So
so-
you know what? We're going to post that to the listening audience. Pineapple on pizza. Yay or nay?
1,000 times.
I
Yay.
want it 1,000 times nay. One thing that was cute that I was just thinking of when, I don't know if it was cute as much as it just made my heart swell, when Joyce and Hopper were reunited.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, and then he's talking about their date, and he's like, I'm ordering 2 things of breadsticks. And she's like, you're only thinking about the breadsticks? He's like, I lived
the
off
food.
moldy bread and water.
He was also thinking of lasagna.
Well, yeah, it was lasagna or something else.
Yeah, but
And I was like, ooh, lasagna. I was immediately drawn to that. But I thought it was adorable the way they went back and forth. And then the phone call cuts them off.
I know, right? It's like, what?
But it was adorable. And it was that real relationship that you've just been waiting for to hear and to see. So it was nice.
Okay, so at the New Jersey convention, let's bring in the convention a little bit here. A lot of the questions centered around the music and what music would...
what song would save you from Vecna?
Yeah.
So what song would save you from Vecna? I just asked that twice, but hey.
Well, if we're talking about the 80s music, it would be...
Yeah, it has to be 80s, because remember that was something that they were asking. Like, no, it has to be 80s.
Well, for me, it's... In the 80s, it would be something from Madonna or Cyndi Lauper, because I always listened to them. And the reason why that is for me is because when we moved from the Philippines to the U.S. in the late 80s, the transition was very, very hard for me. And I actually remember converting all of my tapes to CDs. And then I would have my little CD Walkman.
It was a Discman, not a Walkman.
Sorry. A Discman, and I would just remember falling asleep listening to Madonna's True Blue album, and it was just the one of the things that helped me get through day after day. So, any song on the True Blue album or Cyndi Lauper.
The True Blue album, I think, was one of the best albums ever released in the 80s.
I agree.
However,
how about you?
I went to Catholic school, so it was pre-K all the way through 8th, and then I went to high school, a Catholic high school. I was bullied relentlessly, horribly, horribly so. So for me, I would say either Eurythmics' Sweet Dreams.
Good song.
It's a great song.
And that beat.
Yeah, and it always kept me going. And then Pat Benatar's We Belong was a very powerful song, but if I'm going to just keep expanding, I would say my entire Debbie Gibson catalog that I had. Because it always kept, it was lighthearted music, even the romantic ballads. But I mean, I had Scorpion's Wind of Change. I had a lot of songs that really helped me get through that.
Well, you're like a walking jukebox. You just know music.
Music saved me. I mean, when push comes to shove, I will say the music of the 80s kept me going. And when I really hit rock bottom in the 90s in high school was horrible for me. Music kept me going there too. And whenever I've had really very, very difficult times in my life, music has been what has centered me. Yeah. Always.
And I mean, speaking of music, my parents forced me to take piano lessons when I was younger. And I always rebelled against it. And now that I'm older, I wish I hadn't. But I came across the piano cover of Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill. And if I could play piano even infinitesimally good, I would learn this song, and it just gave me goosebumps. So if you want to check it out, it's on YouTube, and we'll provide the link in our show notes page. Moving right along,
okay,
because we're gonna have to
wrap
this up soon. We haven't done this in a while, but since we know that season 5 will be the last season, and this last season just left us on a major cliffhanger, why don't you then tell us your spoiler speculations?
I always mess that up. Speculations.
Yes, but you have to make it a short list.
It's only 3. Okay, number 1, they're going to get Max back. Okay. Here's how I figure this. The entire season 4 really was based on Nightmare on Elm Street, and anybody who actually understands the Nightmare on Elm Street lore and everything else, Freddy Krueger, when he kills them, he actually absorbs all of their souls and they become part of him, so that when he actually wants to scare people, he lifts up his sweater and you can see the faces of those he's killed in the past, and then he lowers his sweater and it's all gone.
And is that why the actor who played Freddy Krueger was a guest star here?
Yeah! I
just
was
making that clear.
Jumping up and down when that happened because I want to meet Robert Englund and then just tell him, dude, I was a child who hid under a couch to watch Nightmare on Elm Street. You terrified the living daylights out of me, and yet I absolutely love that character.
Okay.
But anyway, So since Freddy Krueger actually absorbs the souls and everything, and since Max is actually still living in the right side up, yes, I'm calling it the right side up. So because our body is still alive and everybody else that he's absorbed is actually dead, even though they're part of like the upside down and those little like cages of like vines and everything that are like part of the hive mind, I think that when they actually vanquish Vecna, V squared, when they do that, then they're going to be able to actually release her soul, because when 11 was in her mind was completely blank. It was just like this empty black
yes.
vastness, which means she is part of him. He is giving him power. So he needs these souls to open up the fissures to do all this. So how can they stop it? When they vanquish him, maybe the fissures close up because of the fact that they've released the souls. And then Max gets her soul back, which means Max's dreams and everything come in. And then Max is going to be alive and well because she's alive in the real world. If she's not alive in the real world, if 11 didn't revive her, then I don't think this happens. Okay, number 2. Not everyone in our group is going to survive. I do think that season 5 is going to be even darker than this season because of everything that's going to be coming to the surface. And I do believe that our lovely family and everybody else is going to be in a heck of a lot of trouble. And I really don't know if Chopper's ever going to get to that date, but I really hope he does with his 2 things of breadsticks and everything. But I do believe that we are going to have massive problems and that the ones we love, not everybody's going to walk away from it. Because the fact is, we also know that 11 is the one that created the Upside Down. And if 11 created the Upside Down, maybe 11's the only one that was able to actually close the Upside Down, which theoretically then, because it goes into my point 3, because evil never dies, because as long as there's people with greed and hungry for power, there's always going to be the Upside Down, because the Upside Down fuels this, right? So that shadow is like, if you think about it, the evil and the anger that absorbs into human beings. So if it's that, right? If it's like this evil that we as human beings funnel into the world and it's just in the ether, and then it actually goes into other things, then you have to figure that somebody who's going to want to control the demigorgons and the demidogs and everything else and control the shadow, which actually is the epitome of evil, then they're going to want to find a way to get into the Upside Down. So 11 is actually going to be constantly on the run. So then theoretically, if you think about it, the only way to shut down the Upside Down and shut down the evil is to kill 11. So I don't know if they're going to do that, because I mean, that would just be ridiculous. But then you have to figure, overall, the evil is never going to go away. The shadow, this evil, that the mind flare and everything else, that's all in the Upside Down, will never die, because as long as there is evil and hatred in the world, it will continue to fuel that. So the Upside Down will forever exist, regardless of whether 11 is there or not.
It's the yin and yang. It's always going to be.
There's the right side up and the Upside Down, and those in the Upside Down are on the wrong side of history. That is my spoiler speculations and theories.
I have just one, really, or maybe 2. I don't know, and I'm going to speak slowly. 11's newfound confidence, I don't know if she's going to be overconfident and then like misjudge Vecna and then put her family at risk.
I don't think she's ever going to be that overconfident, because she was struggling because she lost. And Mike said she's never lost before. Not like that. I think she's going to learn that she can't do it alone.
Okay. So hopefully that's right. And then the other thing that I'm wondering about is whether Will fully share his feelings for Mike and come out.
I think he might come out. I don't know if he would ever share his feelings for Mike, but I think he'd come out. I think it will be, I would love it if they did like a flash forward after this was all over and show like where they are now.
Maybe. I mean, they know that it's the final season, so maybe they'll provide a little bit of closure. I mean, we like Winona Earp.
Yeah, we do know that there's more to delve into in regards to the Stranger Things universe. So I'm assuming that means there's more stuff coming, whatever that is. Maybe spinoffs. I have no idea.
So I think that wraps up our discussion of Stranger Things. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now it's time for our Forever Fangirls rating. Drumroll, please. We rate Stranger Things Season 4 5 stars. Yay! And we absolutely agree on this rating, along with like millions of other people out there. Yeah, so this season was quite emotional, especially the last 2 episodes. For me, the scenes where family and friends accepted Will and Robin, regardless of their sexuality, really hit home for me. It's hard to live happily, freely, and in your truth when you have to hold something of yourself secret from everyone. The fear, the pain, the depression, it's all very real. Now, that's aside from all of the other themes that we barely scratched the surface on in this episode. And then you add the 80s soundtrack, and that's just, absolutely golden. What more can you want? And I can't say enough about the show, and will eagerly await season 5.
I agree with everything you said. In the 80s, it was virtually impossible to be open about who you were. And it truly wasn't much better in the 90s. In my humble opinion, it's only recently that it feels like people can be more open and more free about who they are. So showing the truth about the time period is very important. It also broke my heart watching Eddie fight for a town doing what was right, even when the town of Hawkins would never know. Mm-hmm. They'd always paint him as a villain because it's easier than the truth. And in the end, this season is very clear on one thing, in my humble opinion. The truth is always there. You might not want to believe it. You might not want to see it, but it is there. You can hide your head in the sand or blame someone else for the evils of the world. Eventually, it will be at your doorstep, and you are going to be forced to face it. You can flee, or you can be Eddie and the chosen family and fight for what's right. The truth, goodness, and love. And with that, that is going to be our show for today. Again, this is a rather long episode, but there's a lot. I mean, one episode was over an hour. So there's a lot to really cover, and we barely scratched the surface. So thank you so much for joining us. Were there any key points or other themes that you feel we should have discussed? Just leave us a message on speakpipe.com/Forever Fangirls podcast. Also, let us know if you like pineapple on pizza or not.
Yes.
And no. And if you're listening to this podcast on your smartphone, please be sure to hit that little subscribe button so you do not miss an episode.
And until next time, stay safe. Be kind and remember, as Kimmy said, the truth is always there. We can choose to run from it, but eventually it will always catch up. Stand in your truth, because it will set you free.